This is Paul Corvino, the Vision President of iHeartMedia. Today we're in Las Vegas, Nevada, with our segment called CEOs You Should Know. Today we're at the Palms Casino Resort in Las Vegas, as I just mentioned, with Peter Arceo. Did I pronounce that correct?
That is correct.
The CGO, Chief Gaming Officer of San Manuel Nation. Welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me, Paul.
So, Peter, before we get going in our interview and learn about your journey and what got you to this tremendous position that you're in, what I'd like to do is a quick Q&A, rapid fire. You got to answer real quickly.
Okay.
And what we'll do is we'll go through it. It'll get your mouth moving, your brain working. You ready to go?
Ready to go.
Okay. Ski or beach vacation?
Beach.
Beatles or Stones?
Stones.
Tom Brady or Michael Jordan?
Jordan.
Sean Connery or Daniel Craig?
Ooh. Sean Connery.
Star Wars or Godfather?
That's another tough one. I'll go Star Wars.
Celebrity people say you remind them of?
Ooh. That's a tough one.
All right, we're going to come up with one by the end of this. We're going to come up with one.
Okay.
So tell us a little bit about your story. You're running all these tremendous hotels. You got the Yaamava, which is a gorgeous hotel in San Bernardino, California. We're here at the Palms, which is spectacular. Where did it get started? Where did you grow up?
Paul, first of all, it's an honor to be here to talk about my story today. And where I was born in Guam,
Guam,
little island in the middle of the Pacific, was raised there till I was 6. And then my parents, who both worked in civil service for the Navy and the Air Force, got jobs in California. So they transferred out through the Navy to California. And so I moved to Southern California when I was 6, was raised there.
Whereabouts?
Oxnard. So I was
Oxnard, a beautiful area.
Lived there from the age of 6 until 19, and then 19 years old, decided to move to Las Vegas, come out to UNLV to get a hospitality degree, and started in the casino business. And 30 years later,
so
here we
know
go.
that University of Las Vegas is famous for their hotel and hospitality department. Is that what'd you study?
That's right. But it goes back to sort of where I was first inspired by this was one of my cousins. She was an older woman. And when I was a teenager, I stayed with them in Hawaii. She was the general manager of the Kaanapali Beach Hotel at the time on Maui. And for a couple of weeks, I got to stay with them and really got my first taste of what hospitality was all about. And just learned from her and everyone else.
Did you work there?
I did not. No, I was 13 years old at the time.
Okay.
So unfortunately, I wasn't able to work there, but just got a little taste of what it was like. And so years later, when I was trying to figure stuff out.
That inspired you to go to hospitality school?
Absolutely. Right. It just absolutely inspired me to do that. And I thought I would travel the world. I wanted to travel the world and see, all the different continents. And working in the hotel industry, I thought that would be a great way to do it.
All right, so you graduate for UNLV with a degree in hotel and hospitality management.
That's right.
What's your first job?
Well, actually, while I was going to school, I started out as a dealer. So I dealt blackjack. When I turned 21, I went out and got a job as a blackjack dealer. So dealt blackjack, I dealt craps, I dealt all the games, broke in Henderson, Nevada.
Did they teach you that in school, learning how to be a dealer? Was that part of it?
No, I had to go to dealer school, actually.
Dealer school?
Yeah, there was a special school for that, and I went and did that. Thought that it would just be a job that I would have during college, and decided to stay and never left the industry.
What hotel did you first work at?
First one was the El Dorado Casino in Henderson, Nevada. It was owned by the Boyd Corporation at the time. They since sold it, but little did I know that was the training ground for their future general managers. So I was really blessed to be able to break in there. So now you're about 21,
22 years old, and you're working at a casino, and you're a dealer at a blackjack table and roulette and some of the other areas. That's pretty exciting. How long did you do that for?
So I dealt cards for a couple of years, and then
what are the hours on a job like that?
At that particular time, I was working swing shift, so it was 6 p.m. to 2 a.m. It was attractive to me because I could go to school during the day. And then during my breaks, we got a break every 40 minutes.
So you did this while you were in college?
That's right.
Oh, wow.
I did it while I was in college. Every 40 minutes, we got a break. So for 20 minutes, that's where I would do my homework, catch up on reading. So I was able to get paid while going to school.
How did you get the job?
actually, I went door to door. I probably went to maybe 30 or 40 casinos in town. I just went door to door asking for an audition. That was the way it worked back then. You didn't apply online. You didn't do any of that.
I remember.
You had to go, show up in your black and whites, as they say, and you go and find the shift boss and ask them for an audition. And sometimes they would give it to you. Sometimes they wouldn't. Hopefully you get a job out of it. And
so how many did you go to before you got one?
I would say probably close to 30. And the El Dorado was the last stop on my journey. I went downtown the Strip, worked my way down the Boulder Highway, and the El Dorado was at downtown. So you're
Henderson. Like a guy in a casino running out of money, and you had one, and you had one last chip to put on black.
That's right. Yeah, and they took a chance on me, and I was really blessed to be able to find that place, because at that casino they put me in the management training program, and I was able to learn slots, race and sports, bingo, keno, all the operations.
So you went through. How long did you work there?
At that particular property, 3 years.
3 years. Let me ask you, one of the things that we hear from so many people that we interview is in that period, they found, or a mentor found them. Did you have any mentors at that time?
I actually had a couple of mentors. One of them in particular was always challenging us in the pit to do better and to be basically perfect, right? Because as a dealer, you don't want to make any mistakes. And that individual moved on to another casino, and he never forgot. This is years later. I discovered this, by the way. When there was this opportunity to work at the corporate office, he recommended me to the group at the corporate office that I joined the project. So that's how they found me, right? So they found me out in this little casino in Henderson through that person that I used to work with, who I considered mentors. His name was Terry McLaughlin, and T-Mac, as we would call him. Remembered that I was in college, and when they were looking for someone to
give a shout out to T-Mac.
Yeah, I would. Yeah, and he never wanted the recognition, so it took me years before I figured out how the heck did they find me. And that was my move out of the property into the corporate office.
Didn't even know.
I didn't even know. No.
And so you moved to the corporate offices. How old are you now?
23, approaching 24.
And you went through a management training program?
Prior to that, I did. But at the corporate office, I was blessed to find my next mentor, which was Mr. Bob Bogner, who was the chief operating officer at the time for Boyd Gaming Corporation. And he was the one leading the project that I was brought on to join. And so at that time, at that age, I was able to get influenced by someone like Bob, who's done great things in the industry and really help set my foundation as a leader for years to come.
It's interesting. You had you went to the proper school to learn this. You had perseverance. You got the job, which is what people need to learn when they're listening to this interview. Then you went to this great training program. They don't have management training programs anymore in any company. I'm lucky enough to be of an age when we had management training programs. Now you're just told you're a manager and you're out there. Do you have management training programs here?
Oh, we absolutely do. We have a number of them, actually, because we do recognize, and it's a passion of mine, by the way, to help develop the next generation of hospitality and casino leaders. And I recognize not everyone learns the same way. Some people learn by reading, some learn by experience, some do perfectly fine with online classes, others prefer in person. And what we try to do in our organization is provide all of the above, right? So that the individual who has a different way of learning will find that inspiration and passion to pursue their career in the method that resonates most with them. So we spend a lot of time talking about people development and even more time executing on that.
Yeah. So now you're 25, 26, you're in this corporate, you're now working for corporate. What's your first job in corporate?
I was a project associate, right? So back then, we had to do all the work. We had to put together process maps, do all of the, before and afters and the after action meetings and presentations. And it was a lot of hard work, and it was all based on, it was a tech project. Back then it was the late 90s. And at that time, data warehousing and, was just coming into its own. So marketing analytics was relatively new for the industry at the time. And that was my area of focus, was marketing analytics. So it was through that focus and project management part of my career that I really learned about marketing from the analytical world all the way up.
Really interesting. How long did you do that for now?
Okay, so 4 years in that role.
And then what was your next position, and how did that come about?
So my next role was I actually left Boyd and had an opportunity to join the Las Vegas Hilton in 2004, and I went over there in IT. So I had an IT role in my background for a while. Did a couple of years doing that.
And at that stage, IT was in demand. There weren't as many people that were in it. The generation that didn't really understand it, so they're really reliant upon people like yourself.
Yeah, and my particular role at the time was a business analyst. So it was my job to bridge the technology part of it with the business. And that was what I was brought on to do. But then through that experience, I was able to transition into a senior marketing role. So I took all of that knowledge that I gained in data warehousing and marketing analytics, combined with the IT and my operational background, and I was able to transition over to database marketing and casino marketing. So it, started out casino ops, got to tech, and then over to marketing.
So now you've been a dealer, you've been on the floor, you understand the technology behind everything and data, and now you're getting a marketing background.
That's right.
You're getting all elements working from every side of your brain.
That's right. And it was particularly challenging because you got to put all of that experience together to hopefully drive change and drive visits into the casino, right? And there was no one to blame but myself. I was the one who created the campaigns.
How is your performance measured?
Performance is measured in return on investment. So if you spend $1,000, how much did it yield? And my goal is always to have 3x or higher, right, in order to provide a decent return for the organization. Okay.
So now, what are your steps? Did you move up within the marketing department, or did you go into other areas or to a different company at this point?
Actually, I moved up in marketing at the Hilton. And then in 2011, I left the corporate casino world and worked for the first tribal gaming operation in Arizona. So
how did you meet what is the name of the organization?
So at that one in particular, it was Talking Stick Resort and Casino Arizona, and that was owned by, or it is owned by, the Salt River Pima Maricopa Indian community, and that was my first.
How did you meet them? How did that come about?
Actually, through a friend who had heard that they were looking for the lead marketing executive there. The CEO over there reached out and said, I heard that you're someone we should talk to. We got to talking. It was a good fit. It was interesting to me because I had never worked in tribal gaming before. So it was my first time working in that part of the business. Scottsdale, Arizona is a pleasant place to live. At least all the research I did at that point in time.
Did you have a family at the time? Were you married?
I did. Yeah, I was married. Our son was a freshman in high school at the time, so he was 13. It was a family decision. So I sat down with the family and said, are you okay moving out of Las Vegas? The family had to agree. If they didn't agree, we weren't going, right? And they were all supportive and willing to go. So we made the trip out there.
So off to Scottsdale.
Off to Scottsdale. And my son got to pick the high school. I go, you pick the high school you want to go to? And he found the one. He goes, I want to go to Notre Dame. So we said, okay, fine. We got him enrolled there, and we made the move out to Arizona.
And so tell us about the experience. Now you're working, now you're head of marketing.
Now I'm in charge of all of marketing, working for the tribe. And I tell you, it was a very eye-opening experience for me. Working for tribes is different than working for a corporate casino.
Was there a reservation there too?
There is, yeah. So they have a reservation that the two casinos were operated on. What I learned was that working for people, that the work we do is supporting a community, a culture, to preserve their well-being and their health in future generations. And it was just a different way of thinking. Same business. I mean, we had the same slot machines, the same blackjack tables, but it just, the reason for doing it changed. And so
now, let me ask you, culture-wise, here you're in Las Vegas and you're hiring people that are primarily transients from all around. Plus you've got people that live here or moved here to work in the gaming business. Now you're in Arizona and you're running two hotels. Were they primarily Indians from the reservation?
So at that time, I want to say it was about 15 to 20% were community members, which were from the tribal community. The goal was to get it higher, of course, but that number was really based upon the interest level of them wanting to come and work at the properties. So we had training programs available to them so they could learn the industry. As you pointed out, it's not like there's a casino on every corner. So we had to provide training programs for the community members to be able to learn a little bit more about the operation and how they could fit in and work and be successful.
Okay, so now you're running management. Is the CEO the person that you report to from the Native American organization?
He was not. No, he actually his background was from Atlantic City, and he had worked for tribes for a significant period of his career. I didn't work with him until that opportunity in Arizona.
How involved is the tribe?
They were very involved. They have a business board that we reported to, so we had to report our results just like you would a corporate board. They would set the direction and vision, and it would be our responsibility to execute on that. So it's very similar in that regard. It's just the way you do business and sort of the long-term thinking is much different than.
So is it similar to any organization where you're the CEO of a company and you're making your decisions, and there are a certain amount of decisions that you can make, and then there are certain decisions that go above the rim, and that goes to the board, and they operate the same as any other board?
Yeah, very similar. Yeah, very similar. They drive the vision. They drive the scope of what we're supposed to do. And then we come back with a business plan and get that approved by the board and off and running.
But you mentioned before that it was a little different. How was the culture different, being that it was a Native American board as opposed to your typical corporate board?
Yeah, so I would say it's more in terms of how long of a term of a vision the board sets. A lot of the discussions are generational in nature. So of course you got to make the number for the month or the quarter or the year. But really the bigger question is, how are we setting up the tribe to be successful for generations to come?
Someone that works in the business world, as myself, we have so much pressure to hit the quarter in every business, in every industry right now. And every one of us, we sit back and say, boy, we wish we could do long-term planning like that. And so how did you balance that out, both the short-term and the long-term?
That is a challenge, but I think understanding the market and understanding the goals of the tribe and the vision they ultimately have for their organization is really critical. And then having open and transparent discussions with the board to understand, are we on track with what their expectations are? And there may be some short-term blips. If we miss a quarter, it's not the end of the day. At the end of the year, it's like, how do we bounce back and get back on track? Not to say that we missed all that often, but there were times where maybe we didn't perform as well as we wanted to. But with a longer vision and longer term horizon, it allows you to think a little bit differently. Also,
the pressure of Wall Street too.
Yeah, and we don't need to take unnecessary risks, right? So there's no pressure to take unnecessary risks that could jeopardize that long-term vision and scope. So I found that to be very rewarding, and that experience in Arizona was just fantastic. Next step,
how did you get from there to the San Manuel?
Yeah, so at that particular point in time, San Manuel was going through a management change, and so they brought on some new leaders, and one of those leaders reached out and asked if I'd be interested in the marketing role, the chief marketing officer role at San Manuel. So this was 2015, so it was 10 years ago. And I found it very intriguing. I did all the research on the tribe, saw all the good they did for the community, was nothing but positive things that I read. And I thought I would really like to be a part of this organization and contribute to what they're doing. Again, my eyes were open a little bit more since I had some time working for a tribe. So being able to see and understand what they stood for and what they did for the community in the San Bernardino area was just tremendous. And I wanted to be a part of that and to help them, achieve whatever goals and vision.
And the hotel you're running at this point is Yaamava.
Yeah. So we went through a name change in 2021. We launched Yaamava Resort and Casino at San Manuel. And so that occurred in December of that year. So the name change coincided with the expansion, where we expanded into, before there was no hotel, no resort. We didn't have a theater. All of those elements were added after that project to expand the property and rename it to Yaamava.
And I can tell you, I've stayed there. We worked together with you, and we did a concert that I went to about a year ago with Sublime. We just did another one recently with you, and I tell you that the hotel is second to none. The service, the quality. I mean, and I've stayed in 5-star hotels in all over the country. Yaamava is really special. So tell us a little bit about the value proposition. How are you able to get that hotel to have such a high standard?
Well, thank you for that, Paul. And I think it really starts with the vision of the tribe, right? They wanted a best-in-class operation. Now, they didn't go out and say, make it a 5-star. You know, they said, Peter, we want it to be a best-in-class operation. Let's do what's best and what you think would work best for the market. And so when we evaluated the situation, we looked around, we said, you know, there really isn't a 5-star casino operation in Southern California. You'd have to come to Las Vegas to get that on the Strip. So we decided, you know.
And quite frankly, there's not much on the Strip that I think can compare service-wise to Yaamava.
Well, thank you for that. We worked very hard. So with the tribe's support and vision, we went forward, and we had to inspire, you know, most of the team members that have worked at Yaamava to earn the high accolades that we've earned. We just received our second year in a row, AAA 5 Diamond. Most of the people, the team members that achieved that, had never worked in a 5 Diamond property before. So they had to really do it from the heart, and really service comes from within. And if you don't have that hospitality culture embedded inside your spirit, it's really difficult. But we spent a lot of time finding people who are passionate about it, who want to do it, not to achieve the goals, but to do it because it's right for the guest. The guest will reward us with visits, and, you know, profit comes along with that, right? So we've spent a lot of time finding the right people to join our organization who are passionate about that mission.
Now, I noticed your title is Chief Gaming Officer.
Yeah.
Well, tell me, how did you get that position, and what is it? What does a Chief Gaming Officer do?
So prior to that, I was the general manager at the Yaamava Resort and Casino, and then.
So you went from Chief Marketing Officer to General Manager running the casino.
That's correct. And then 2 years ago, my boss, the CEO of the tribe, and the tribe came to me and said, you know, we have a desire to strengthen the synergies between Las Vegas and California. They created this role, and they said, we'd like for you to work on creating these synergies. So today, in my current role, I oversee both the Palms and the Yaamava Resort and Casino in California.
And we're sitting at the Palms right now, and if those of you can see this, you can see how beautiful it is. The attention to detail and service is just, I didn't know it. I haven't been to the Palms before, and I'm in Vegas quite a bit, but it really is, it's really pretty incredible to see the attention to detail and the service and what you've done here.
Thank you. I mean, we feel like it's a really good match for our sister property in California. We think that the folks in California that visit Las Vegas will enjoy the Palms, which is one of the reasons why we, you know, moved forward to purchase the property and integrate the Players Clubs. So those people who earn loyalty points in California can redeem them here in Las Vegas, and from Las Vegas to California. And we feel that the two properties complement each other. The team member base is very similar, and with respect to the fact that both the Palms team members and the Yaamava team members have it inside their heart to deliver this first-class hospitality in both states. And that's really what it's about, is consistency.
Now you're running these two first-rate hotels. One is in Nevada, one is in California. How do you yourself manage both of them and have them maintain the level of service, level to detail, the just maintain that high quality essence that they have?
I really have to credit our team. Our team just really, they're an amazing group of people. Our management teams at both properties understand the mission. They understand what needs to be done, and all the team members that work together. We have over 9,000 team members total between all of the properties, and those teams work as one, right? Because for a common goal. This goes back to the tribe's vision. When they lay it out, well, what do we want and where do we want to go? And that's really a big testament to that style of leadership, where it's very clear the direction we're going. Everyone gets behind it. They put their best foot forward. But you asked how I'm able to manage it. Well, I'm able to manage it because our management teams at both properties are spectacular,
So the
first
key
class.
is in hiring and promoting and getting the right people in those positions. And I hear that so often from most of the entrepreneurs and business leaders that I've talked on this show.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Well, Peter, it's been an honor talking to you once again. We're with Peter Arceo, the Chief Gaming Officer of San Manuel Nation. And he runs both the beautiful Palms Hotel in Las Vegas and Yaamava in San Bernardino, California. And really, one more question I'd like to ask. What would you tell your 21-year-old self if you gave yourself advice on how to eventually get to this position?
Yeah, I would tell my 21-year-old self to be patient and relax and just enjoy the process, because the process is just as rewarding as the end. And I found that when I look back on my career, I look fondly on those experiences along the way, and I wouldn't speed it up for the world, even though my 21-year-old self wanted to go from 0 to 1,000, in a second, right? The journey is just as great as the destination. So telling myself that back then, I would have probably been able to absorb more of the experience along the way.
Well, thank you so much, Peter. It's great to have you on the show, and hope to spend some more time with you and do some more great events and other initiatives together. This is Paul Corvino, Division President of iHeartMedia, saying thank you for listening to another episode of CEOs You Should Know.
Thank you, Paul.
Thank you.